What is Tony's everyday life? This is part of it right here. Hi, how you doing? I'm Tony with Tony's Everyday Life. Have you tried sitting in one of these ground blinds for an extended amount of time and felt like you failed or that you just couldn't handle it? Today, let me give you some tips and some advice on what I do to be able to sit in these for 13 to 13 and a half hours a day. Some of these tips are going to be things that you've probably never heard of before. Some of this might be a little bit out there, but stick with me and let me show you some good things. Before we go in, I want to show you something. This is Arizona, and I'm in a fern area right now, but you'll see that I've got ferns on top of this tent or this blind, and they're not there for camouflage. Those are actually there because when that sun comes beating down, because obviously I was not able to get under a tree, it just melts you in this blind. So I decorate the top, get a little shade on it, make shade, and that's how we do. All right, let's go inside. All right, just so you know, once that zipper's closed, that's it. I do not come out of this until dark. I get in the morning before daylight, and I get out at dark. So how do I do it? Well, number one, let me get this camera off here. We're gonna go freestyle. So first of all, my blind is closed up for the most part everywhere. And I've got a shooting lane out there. And I kind of have one here, but that one's actually, the mesh is down because I'm always filming. I recently tried sitting in a 360 blind, all mesh, and I just cannot do that. I like my windows up, that way you get a light breeze. It's not pushing your scent all the way through from one end to the other. This will help keep some of your scent and sound in, versus those mesh ones. I don't think that's going to happen. So that's why I do that. All right, so let's get started with how I start my morning off. The first thing I do is I'm going to take my backpack off and I set it down and I get everything out of it that I need for the entire day. And that's the last time I dig in my backpack. My jacket always stays on the back of the chair if I'm not wearing it. My pack goes in front of me. My bow, obviously, out of the way, setting there in a good position to where I can grab it, and I'm always quiet. Now, so as far as all my snacks, my water, whatever, my coffee, all of it comes out of my bag first thing in the morning. Everything gets set over here on this side of me. Reason for that is I don't want to be kicking it. When I set my blind up, I get rid of all the sticks, anything that's going to make noise if I step on it. My coffee is in a sealed container, so I can actually close it so they don't smell. As far as food goes, I stick with beef sticks. I know a lot of people do jerky. Jerky's fine, but beef actually has a lot of fat in it. The fat gives you energy, and on top of that, I do buy these sugar-free beef sticks. I don't bring any sugar into my blind. I don't do any sugar at all in my life just because I'm fighting cancer. But keeping zero sugar in your diet, especially during hunting season, and eating beef or animal fats of some sort is going to play a tremendous role in what you can do and accomplish. Not only are you going to be healthier, but also you're not going to have cravings to eat all day long. I don't eat Little Debbie snacks. Little Debbie snacks give everybody away, don't they? And if you're eating sugar and you're always hungry in the blind, what good is that? You're just constantly eating, you're ruffling that stuff around. It's not worth it, okay? So I do bottled water, just for convenience. I don't like them in big jugs, and I don't like them in the bags. I like these because I can be very quiet with these. You don't have to grasp them hard. They don't crunch and crumble. The only time they crunch and crumble will be when I put them back in my bag at the end of the day. But like I said, I don't touch it. Nothing goes back in the bag, nothing comes out of the bag once I've sat down. All right, so we've talked about food and water. Now, what do you do when you have to go to the bathroom? You can use your empty bottle. That's traditional, probably. Now, what happens when this bottle's full and you still gotta go? And now you are trying to fumble, set this down, not spill it, not get stuff everywhere, to find another bottle and open it. That's a wreck. I've got a whole different way. So check this out. Okay, so here's what I do. Under here is my latrine. And what I do is I cover it up every time. So first of all, I dug a hole here about 8 inches deep or so. If you have one of those bulb planters, it's an auger on a drill. You could even auger deeper. Now, if I have to pee, I pee into here. And then I'm just kind of being sloppy right now. I like to put sticks over it. But I take the vegetation and I cover it so it doesn't let the smell go out of the tent. Now, say you ate too much because you brought your Little Debbie snacks anyway. You still have all the dirt that you dug out of there to completely cover that hole. So you could, if you had to go poop, get it covered up, get that smell out of there, maybe even put a little vegetation on it just to be safe. Okay, so we've talked about eating, drinking, getting rid of whatever you ate and drank. Now let's talk about one of the more important things, even more important than that. It's comfort. So, number one, let me get this camera. All right, so number one, look at this. I always make sure I have room to stretch my feet. Number two, you have to have a good swivel chair. It has with cushions. So this one came with a cushion. I added a cushion. I got another cushion. I got rectal cancer, and I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but acetol. I have no acetol, so I have to have cushions. It's the only way. All right, for this next part, we're gonna go wide angle here. Otherwise, you're not gonna be able to see. So we've talked about all the important stuff, and I'm sure some of you are suffering from acetol as well, or no acetol. How about this? You've sat here for hours and hours and hours. You've got to get up. About every hour, I get up, minding my broadhead, and what do? First of all, I gotta get my feet spread so I can get my head above my awning or my blind here, and I'll do some stretches. Just go all different directions. Sometimes I'll do these. Don't be afraid to move around inside the blind, especially if you have the mesh up. They're not going to see you if you have your blind set up correctly. Now, when you're moving around, you're not wanting to make a bunch of noise, but you do want to stretch. You want to get that blood flowing. You don't want to become comatose in here. If you're falling asleep, get up and start stretching. Those stretches are going to be valuable. You can do arm stretches in your chair, of course, all the above. The key is just make sure you're moving, and that should help you a lot. Now, if you can't stay awake, what are you going to do? Well, don't eat sugar, number one. One thing that you could do if it's legal, you could get a motion detector. They make some that go to a watch. You put the watch on, and when it detects motion, it'll vibrate. At least if something walks in, say you're back east, where you're allowed to bait, walks in on your bait, at least you'll know it's going off. It'll wake you up. Other than that, the biggest way to get over that hurdle is just train yourself. I didn't sit in blinds for 13 hours right off the bat. I started at 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. It took me time to get to where I could. Just in the last week or something like that, I've logged 83 hours in a blind over the course of 5 full days and 6 half days. So, anybody can do it if they try. I've been forced to try because I just don't have the ability to go out and hunt and stalk anymore. Got neuropathy in my feet and legs, so too bad. Life changes, so sometimes we gotta adapt. I hope this has helped you a little bit. Hopefully you can take something from it, whether it's the latrine, the seat, the food, whatever. Just remember, sugar makes you hungry. Little Debbie is not your friend. So get out there and hunt, and don't forget to subscribe and leave me a comment, especially if any of this has worked for you, or if you have some other tips. Leave them in the comment section. You have a great day.